Good afternoon, students. Hope all of you guys have been well. Moving forward, I will probably be posting these uh, online classes on YouTube so that you'll have access to it at any time. Because I noticed it was a little bit of an issue to get the majority of you guys to attend the online classes. So hopefully with this approach, it'll be easier for everyone. So with this video here, it'll probably be split into two separate videos. And at the end of each video, I will list off a few questions for you guys to answer. All right, so let's get started. Our topic for today is the human reproductive system. This is a continuation from where I would have left off in my previous online classes. So for those of you who might have not seen them, you'd probably have to just read up on that chapter inside of the textbook. But you should still be able to follow this lesson for today. All right, so you can find all the information inside this slide on page 180 and 181 inside of the textbook. And today we'll be talking about breastfeeding, twin pregnancies, and different contraceptive methods. So basically, this entire PowerPoint is just going to deal with, I guess, changes that you would see during pregnancy. But with this one here, like I said, it's going to focus on breastfeeding, what would cause, twin pregnancies, different types of twin pregnancies, and then we'll move on to different contraceptive methods to prevent pregnancy. All right, so let's get started with a quick review. In my previous lessons, I would have talked about the menstrual cycle, and I think I covered a little bit of this inside class as well. But basically, at the end of the menstrual cycle, something called a corpus luteum is formed, and we all know that this is responsible for secreting progesterone. Now, if the female was to get pregnant, we know that this corpus luteum will not break down and that will continue to release progesterone. And the reason why this was important is because basically it would stop a second menstrual cycle from happening, and that will basically allow the pregnancy to occur and to basically continue on into full term. All right, the reason why I brought that up is because the corpus luteum, it'll only secrete progesterone for a certain amount of time. And then after that time would have passed, once this embryo would have implanted inside the uterus of the mother and start to grow into a fetus, it's going to develop a placenta. Now with the placenta right here, this is basically going to secrete more progesterone and more estrogen. And the reason why these two hormones are important is because it's going to prevent, another menstrual cycle from happening. So it's going to maintain the pregnancy. Because remember, with the menstrual cycle, basically what happens is that the uterus lining is going to start to shed, and basically the uterus is kind of like emptying itself. So the reason why you need a high level of progesterone is to basically maintain a stable environment, stop the lining of the uterus from breaking down, so that the baby inside of the womb can start to grow and develop. All right, now how does all of this tie back into breastfeeding? Now, at the end of a pregnancy, as you're approaching 9 months or so, that progesterone and that estrogen being released from the placenta is going to stimulate the mammary glands inside of the breast to secrete milk. Okay, so the breast will start to create milk. Now, there's another hormone also involved in this called prolactin. Prolactin is going to be released from the pituitary gland. Once this hormone is secreted, once the baby is born and starts to suckle on the breast of the mom, that's going to allow the breast milk to actually be secreted from these mammary glands. So basically, you have a number of hormones working together. You have the progesterone and the estrogen that was secreted from the placenta that started the process of milk production inside the mammary glands. And then you had prolactin being secreted from the pituitary gland that's basically going to trigger the milk to actually be secreted from the breast, the mammary glands, as a baby is feeding. Right, so those are the three hormones that are going to play a role inside breast milk production. All right. Okay, moving on. Okay, so breastfeeding. Now that we know, how milk is created and all of that, I'll talk about, I guess, the advantages of breastfeeding and the different types of breast milk. Okay, so starting with the advantages, I guess from a social standpoint, it's going to allow a bond to be created between the mother and the baby, which is important because, as a newborn baby, on its first day, doesn't really know anyone. Everything just feels like, strange. But through that child breastfeeding, with the mother, he's going to get used to the smell of the mother. And basically, it's going to help form a bond between mother and child. Okay, so this is why you see a lot of times, like when a baby cries, sometimes the baby may not even be hungry, but that breast milk will basically help to comfort that baby. So that's important when it comes to creating a bond between the mother and the baby. So that's one advantage that you would see with breastfeeding. Now, I guess from a health standpoint, breast milk has a lot of protein inside of it, and it also has a lot of antibodies inside of it as well. And we all know protein is important for growth, and antibodies is basically important to keep the immune system of that baby healthy. Right, so those are some other advantages. What else is there? Oh, another advantage of breastfeeding is that I guess there's less, preparation. If you were to use uh, a formula like Infamil, for example, you'd have to put the powder inside some warm water. Obviously, you'll have to warm the water first, and then you would have to wait for that water to cool down, to a temperature that would be comfortable for the baby because you wouldn't want to burn uh, the mouth of the baby. But with breastfeeding, the temperature of the milk is always right. So the child basically has easy access to breast milk at any time of the day. You could just start drinking the breast milk and there'll be no issue with that. Now, when it comes to the different types of breast milk, you can have, I guess, normal breast milk, and then you're also going to have colostrum. All right, you can't really see the spelling here, but some of you might be familiar with colostrum if you heard about it before. But as we move on in the PowerPoint, I'll bring it up again so you can see the spelling of colostrum. But basically, colostrum is a special type of breast milk that is going to be secreted around the time that the baby is born. So basically, within that first week or so. What's distinctive about colostrum from regular breast milk is that it's going to have even more proteins inside of it. It's also going to have this yellow color, and it's also going to have a lot of antibodies inside of it. Now, the reason why it's important for this breast milk to have these antibodies inside of it, like I said, this helps with the immune system. But if you were to think, reflect on it some more, uh, you know, around the time that a baby is born, he's coming from a place where he was inside the mother and he was basically inside a sterile environment with no germs. And all of a sudden, he's going to be, placed into, I guess, the real world where he'll come into contact with different germs and stuff like that just from breathing it in or other people touching it. So this is why it's important for a baby to have colostrum or to feed on colostrum because basically it's going to give that baby an immune system boost for that first week of his life to basically help strengthen his immune system. All right, so those are the advantages of using breast milk or breastfeeding the child as opposed to using artificial formula. Okay, so this slide here is just basically showing a recap about what I've talked about so far. Uh, like I said, estrogen and progesterone, they play a role in breast milk production. We learned that a source of these two hormones was the placenta, and basically around the end of the pregnancy, the placenta is going to release estrogen and progesterone, and that's going to stimulate the mammary glands inside of the breast to create milk. All right, we also know that prolactin also plays a role in secreting this milk from the breast. And those three hormones basically work together to produce breast milk and to secrete breast milk. And like I said earlier, the prolactin, that's a hormone that's going to be released by the pituitary gland. And these were the advantages of breastfeeding that I would have talked about earlier. The mother milk has all the necessary nutrients such as protein. It's going to be at the right temperature at all times, so you don't have to worry about the mouth of the baby getting burned. It's going to contain antibodies, and that's going to boost the immune system. And like I said, as well, it's going to strengthen the bond between the mother and the child. And this is basically about this slide is basically talking about the colostrum milk. Remember, I said it's a special type of breast milk secreted at the end of the pregnancy, or basically within that first week of a baby being born. It has a very rich yellow color. It's rich in protein, and it has a lot of antibodies inside of it that's going to protect that newborn baby against diseases. All right, so that's it for breastfeeding and the advantages of breastfeeding. Now we're going to move on to twin pregnancies, or basically what's going to cause twins to occur. Okay, so first off, you have two types of twins. You guys probably familiar with this by now. You have fraternal twins, and then you have identical twins. Now, as the name implies, with identical twins, basically the twins are going to have this exact same genetic makeup. Okay, so, and the reason why this is going to happen is because one single sperm cell is going to fuse with an egg cell. Okay, so this is a sperm cell out, this is an egg cell. Remember in class we talked about there being DNA or genetic material inside the nucleus of these cells. So they're going to fuse. Now with identical twins, during the beginning stages of fertilization or after fertilization when it occurred, sometimes this embryo is going to split into two. And both of these embryos, like I said, came from one sperm and one egg cell. So they're going to have the exact same genetic makeup. So that's what's going to cause identical twins to basically have the exact same genes. So basically with identical twins, you'll find that, you would have two boys, two girls, because they have the exact same genetic makeup. Now with fraternal twins, this can happen in a number of different ways, but basically what happens is that you have two egg cells that were released. And because you have two egg cells, both of them can become fertilized by a sperm cell. So basically that will lead to the creation of two separate embryos, and they're gonna have their own unique genetic makeup. So that's with fraternal twins. So basically the main difference between identical and fraternal twins, with identical twins, one sperm, one egg. Fraternal twins, you have two eggs, two sperms. And like the name implies, with identical twins, they're gonna have the exact same genetic makeup. All right, so this slide here just basically shows, well, the same thing I just talked about earlier. All right, so questions. This is going to be your questions for, the information I just went over. I'll give you guys a deadline for this inside of the group. So what you can do, you can just pause the video here, write down these questions, just write down your name, the date, and then you can email this to me. All right, I'll end the video here for right now.